AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Russo. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. Almost forgot. It's Thursday. Every other day, he's Musso. Thursday, he's Russo. Okay, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Kendall Rogers, 30 minutes. Ross Jackson next hour. Bill Connolly from ESPN will join us as well. Chris Marler with a ton of SEC stuff to knock around. We'll do that in hour 3. Glad you're here. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, let's call it what it is. 6 straight lackluster offensive performances for LSU baseball. It's what it is. Dating back to McNeese, the 7-6 loss where they rallied late. The 3 games over the weekend, the Monday loss to Northeastern, and then losing 7-2 to UL Lafayette at Cajun Field on Wednesday. That's 6 straight lackluster offensive performances. No way around that. I think this is a disappointing stretch for a team that has way more talent than the opponents that they've played close over these last 6 games and lost 3 of those. Still, I'm not in any way concerned about this team. You might be, but we see it every year. It's hard to see the forest through the trees. We have this conversation annually. It's baseball. It's 56. You're gonna stub your toe and skin your knee, and it's just what's going to happen in baseball. And if this were a weekend series or a regional or a super regional, you're not starting Gavin Guidry and playing 8 pitchers and trying Daniel Harden in left field. Like you're gonna go Evans, Moore, Schmidt, and probably be really good. It'll probably go your way. So a couple of takeaways though from the game. Before I get into that though, Jay Johnson after the game did kind of fall on the sword here for what's happened over the last week. And I don't necessarily completely agree with it. I understand why he's saying what he's saying, although I don't necessarily agree.
I'm ready to get into a routine now. We can practice tomorrow. I got it all laid out, ready to go. I wanted to win tonight. Whether we won or lost tonight, we need to get back together and, kind of my traditional practice format. I don't think I set the team up for success with this schedule, how I had it laid out. I do believe we have enough to be successful in it, but, I'm going to own that part of it, learn from it, adjust it in future years. But I do think we will gain value. So I'm glad that we're exposing some things, both baseball-wise that we need and will do better, and then some personnel things and getting clarity.
So basically he's talking about playing the number of games they did in this compressed window. But by the way, it's exactly what they did a year ago. The one difference is in this compressed window in these 3 weeks, they've played 2 4-game weekends, Friday to Monday. Last year they did it once when they played Omaha, and then Nichols on that Monday following. So when they played a 4-game weekend. But they had a couple of 2-game midweek situations. I just look at it and I can understand Jay, kind of taking the bullet here. I just don't know that I completely agree. You're playing teams that you are way more talented than, and some of the things that transpired are things that you can control. And that's where this team needs to get laser focused. Look, in the first inning, bottom of the first yesterday, York just had a boneheaded play. It's a ground ball to first base. He's got the force at first. The runners break into home. He needs to step on first base and throw home. Well, he doesn't step on first base, so they don't get the out, and the throw home is errant. And so he commits the error, the run scores, and the runner's safe at first. Well, that's just awareness, man. That's got nothing to do with playing whatever it is, 14 games in 20 days or whatever it is. They just haven't been very locked in. And Jay also talking about getting back to his way of scheduling, doing things. Well, there's a lot of new guys on this team that don't know his schedule and way of doing things. So I can appreciate I can certainly appreciate what he's saying, and I do believe athletes are creatures of habit, and you will get into the routine when you're playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you have your midweek on Tuesday or Wednesday, and you'll get into that rhythm and that flow, and that starts now. I don't know that you blame the last 6 games, however, on that. The game itself, man, I just look at Derek Curiel drew a walk and a great at-bat to start the game, and you sometimes think of how things might have been different. There was a dirt ball or turf ball, the whole field at Teague Morris Turf, and Curiel broke for second, which was 100% the right thing to do. He had a great read, great jump. The catcher made a great play. The ball bounced in front of the mound, in front of the home plate. The catcher grabbed it and threw out Curiel by a split second. It was a great throw, great tag. They reviewed it. He was out. Well, Jake Brown gets a single. If he's safe, run scores. If you have an early lead in that game, is it different? I don't know. And then you look at the bottom of the first, and it just blew up on you. Gavin Guidry strike out to lead off the game. Then he walks a guy, and then from there, everything just blew up on you. You end up giving up a 3-spot. Guidry throws 24 pitches in the first inning. Guidry hadn't allowed a hit, let alone a run. Let me say that again. Gavin Guidry hadn't allowed a hit, let alone a run up to that point, and he gives up a 3-spot in the first. I'll tell you, there was things I liked. For Guidry, after that, he goes out in the second and needs just 7 pitches to get him in order, and then gets a strikeout to lead off the third, to open the third, and then his night was done. I like that a lot. I think in midweek situations, although nobody wants to hear this, I think you look for, Jay and Nate Yeske are looking for who they can count on in certain roles. Well, in the bottom of the 5th, after they went up 4-2 on the bunt, you had the error on the throwing error on the pitcher on Benj. They go get Garcia. You have a runner on second with nobody out. You're down 4-2. You got to stop the bleeding. And you have a lefty up who had not gotten a hit yet this season off a lefty. So what does Jay do? He go get Santiago Garcia. Lefty-lefty matchup. Boom. Fly out. Garcia did his job there. Then he was out of the game. They went and got Rizzi. To the contrast of Garcia, who we learned situationally there looked really good, Rizzi, with runners on base, was not good. Probably gave up a single to go down 5-2, ground out, hit a guy, threw a wild pitch, walked a guy, then with the bases loaded, threw another wild pitch, so you're down 6-2, then gets the strikeout. Well, Rizzi went out in the 6th and got him up and down in order, striking out the side. Maybe what that tells you is Rizzi's not going to be the guy that you want in a leverage situation, middle of an inning with guys on base. Maybe Rizzi's the guy, if you're up 4-2 in the 6th, you want to come out of the bullpen, take the ball, and see if he can get you 3 outs to bridge to Sheeran or Guidry or whomever. Maybe that's his role. That's the point, I think, of games like this and learning about your team in those situations. Do you want to win? Of course you want to win. But there are things I think that you continue to find out. I'll tell you, I was very disappointed that in the 2 innings where UL Lafayette put up crooked numbers in the bottom of the 1st and the bottom of the 5th, you're looking going, all right, you need to respond. You need to come out there and respond offensively. Well, what happened? LSU in the top of the second goes 1-2-3. Top of the sixth, fly out, ground out, fly out, 1-2-3. Both times they put up crooked numbers. You didn't respond with any pressure. Look to the contrast. When you got the 2-run homer by Caraway in the fifth, they went out in the bottom of the fifth and got a 3 spot. I mean, they got those runs back plus another one. They responded right away. You didn't. They were better. They were hungrier. They wanted it more, all that sort of stuff. So tip your cap. That's a good team, man. They'd won 9 of their after losing their first 2. They had won 9 of 10. That's a team that I wouldn't be surprised to lick if they're a regional team. It's a really good team, tough environment. It's why I like going to play there. By the way, how about the first batter that it was the first batter that plog-faced in the third. Tapper right in front of home plate. Aaron Beatty can't glove it. Turf field. Took a funny hop on the turf field. A play Aaron Beatty's made and practiced 1,000,000 times in his life takes a funny hop. Well, guess where you're going the opening week of conference play? You're going to Vanderbilt. You ever seen Hawkins Field? Turf field. So I like the fact that they had the opportunity to go play on a turf field like that before they have to go do it for real in conference play. So, look, there was a lot of not good in this ball game. I mean, the good is that Curriell and Brown accounted for 5 of your 7 hits. You need those 2 guys certainly to be what they were last night. That was great. You need other guys to bat and to get going offensively. And if you want a reason for optimism, this weekend Sacramento State comes in, and we'll talk more about Sacramento State tomorrow. But they're 3-9 on the season. They're hitting .211 as a team, and they've scored 4 runs in their last 3 games. That's 4 runs total in their last 3 games. And you're going to go Evans, Moore, Schmidt. My guess is this weekend is going to go really well for LSU. So you'll get a little bit of a feel-good back in your belly, purge some of what's gone wrong here over the last week, and get ready for conference play with your final pre-conference weekend with Sacramento State coming in. Disappointing loss for the Tigers, 7-2. But like we talk about all the time, losing a midweek game doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't do anything for your RPI or seeding or any. It doesn't preclude you from doing anything you want to do in this season. Every team loses midweek games. LSU's lost a couple here in the last 2 weeks. It's a bummer. Doesn't look good on paper, but you still got a very talented roster. You're finding out about yourself. Get right this week before they go to Nashville, take on Vanderbilt, starting a week from Friday. All right, it's After Further Review. Show Up and Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU, the defending national champs, as we all well know, and they have the commemorative national championship aluminum bottles at great retailers. So look for them, and if you see them, buy 2. 1 to keep as a keepsake and 1 to drink. So make sure you drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints, the official beer of AFR. Delicious, easy to drink, easy to enjoy at the ballpark, at home, by the pool, by the fire, wherever you may be. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. Okay, y'all, Kendall Rogers is going to be here in 15 minutes, as he is every Thursday. Talk a little college baseball, get his thoughts on the Tigers. We'll preview the weekend ahead in the Southeastern Conference and around the country, so we'll do that coming up in 15 minutes from right now. We'll break when we come back. Cam Jordan, could it be the end of a Hall of Fame era with the New Orleans Saints? We'll talk about it next on AFR.
AFR.
Duplessis Builders and DuplessisBuilders.net. Love telling you about Duplessis Builders. And I always encourage you, you can go check out their showroom over at Duplessis Builders. Beautiful pools where you can pick your finishes and all the layouts and designs and meet with their staff. But you can always just go to the website as well. Imagine building your dream backyard pool without ever leaving your couch. Well, Duplessis Builders lets you do that. You could shop their in-ground gunite pool packages online from start to finish. Browse their pool designs, compare the features. You can see exactly what's included. Choose the package that fits your style and maybe more importantly, your budget. There's transparent pricing. There's proven designs. There's no guesswork. It's all there at the website, DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. Once you purchase, their team will take over. From permits, excavation, to gunite, decking, final, start up, you click, we build, you swim. It's DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at DecisionCriticalBR.com.
Remember, you can always text the show, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Craig said, Matt, I know it's a little early, but do you have the date for the Mama Scone bracket release yet? Well, we always do it on the Wednesday before March Madness because the what do you call it, the first four, the play-in, whatever you call it. We don't pick those games, so we always do it on the Wednesday before the real tournament starts. They call it the second round, but you know what I mean. Before the tournament starts on Thursday. So whatever day that is. Do we know what's the date? That's not so let's see. This Sunday, next Sunday, so is the 15th? Would that be it? The 15th?
You're looking for when the first four starts?
Well, the 15th would be Selection Sunday, right?
Yes.
And so Wednesday the 18th.
The first Tuesday the 17th. Tuesday the 17th and Wednesday the 18th.
Wednesday the 18th is when Mama Scone will come on, is what I'm saying. That Wednesday is when she comes on. So Wednesday the 18th is when Mama Scone will come on. And talk about her squeaky shoes and pick her bracket, which no doubt is destined to be awesome and crush my bracket. So I know that's what you all cheer for. I think in the 10 years we've been together, maybe even longer than 10 years, however long Mama Scone. So if you're not familiar, if you're new, my mom and I go head to head in a bracket challenge just to prove. The idea is to prove you need to know nothing about sports or basketball at all to do well. And so my mom and I go head to head in our bracket challenge. We usually have some type of bet, and she has beaten me twice. I think the last time she beat me was when Loyola of Chicago went to the Sister Jean year. My mom had Loyola of Chicago in the Final Four. Like, let me say that again, okay? The year that Sister Jean and Loyola, the Final Four, my mom had Loyola in the Final Four because my dad went to law school at Loyola of New Orleans. So she had Loyola of Chicago with no awareness whatsoever that was Loyola of Chicago, not Loyola of New Orleans. She just picked the Catholic school Loyola and picked them to go to the Final Four. And I'll be damned, she was right. Whatever. So when Loyola was making their run, I mean, the amount of the texts and tweets I was getting, like, Mama Scone, my God, Mama Scone, Mama Scone. Yeah, Mama Scone, she nailed it with Sister Jean and Loyola that year. Cray. So Mama Scone will be here on the 18th. All right, it's after further review. I want to get to Cam Jordan here in a second. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Name brand tires, wholesale prices. They treat you like family, keep you coming back. Yes, they'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. But remember also, at Shaw Bills, they can do everything. They can change your oil, tire rotations, new wiper blades, check engine lights, squeaky brakes. They can do everything for your vehicle. And they get you in and out. You can schedule service online. I like to go in when I'm having service done on my vehicle and wait because they'll usually get you in and out quickly, and I can get a lot done. It's quiet. They have comfortable furniture, free Wi-Fi, a little cool, clean kitchenette. We can go have free coffee and all that sort of stuff. So find the Shaw Bills nearest you, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com, Shaw Bills. We keep you rolling. It might well be the end of an era for the New Orleans Saints. Cam Jordan, 15 years in New Orleans, former first-round pick, the team's all-time sack leader. He has started 242 out of his possible 243 games. Of course, he missed just one game back in 2022 when he broke his orbital bone. Maybe even more impressive is the fact that he broke his orbital bone and missed one game. He's been an Iron Man. He's been awesome, I believe, as he has now eclipsed 132 career sacks. He will be a Pro Football Hall of Famer, maybe not a first ballot guy, but when you start to look at the list of Pro Football Hall of Famers, when you get to that number and you're above 125, kind of has been that threshold, you're going to be a Hall of Famer. So Cam Jordan, I think, will be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. But his deal is set to expire, and the Saints are going to absorb an $18.76 million dead hit against their cap. Now, even if they sign him to a new contract after the deadline, the dead money from the previous contract and the money from the new deal would both count against the salary cap. But Cam Jordan's going to become a free agent when the new league year begins next week on Wednesday. Schefter had it. Everyone's got it right now. It's not to say Cam Jordan won't be back, but for the first time in his career, he's going to test free agency. And Cam at the Super Bowl when he talked to TMZ kind of talked a little bit about what he's asking for.
Put together a 10-sack season. If I was 26, I'd be asking for top dollar. And things I've never asked for is top dollar. All I've asked for is to be valued.
He also said in January, the Saints have done nothing but show that they want me to be here. Now at what price? Some would say half off this last year. Can't do that again. For what it's worth, Cam Jordan this year reworked his deal and took an incentive-laden deal with SAC, so he hit his SAC incentives, which was an additional $2 million on his contract, finishing the season with 10.5 sacks. That was his best year since 2021. I think the question is, though, can he replicate that again at 36 years old? Mickey Loomis at the end of season press conference was asked about Cam. This is what Mickey said. Again, this was back in early January when the season ended.
It's not just specific to those guys, but there's a process that we go through at the end of the season. It's an evaluation, and then it's a determination of, hey, do they want to come back? Do we want them back? And then even that, there's still, there's a lot of variables, What's the contract situation? What's the timeline? There's just too many variables for me to give you a definitive answer on any of that. But look, I'm excited to hear when those guys declare they want to be back here, and I would say on the surface we definitely want to have them back. But there's just so many other variables that exist that I can't really answer that question right now.
Cam has $146 million, by the way, in career earnings. He's made a ton of money, and you might say, well, how much is enough? You see 146, but 146 is never 146, right? There's agents' fees, there's federal income tax, there's state income tax. How much of that actually goes in your pocket, and then you're living your life and lifestyle, and you have a very finite amount of time to make as much money as possible. And you heard Cam say that he's not going to do that again, where he's taking just an incentive-laden deal. So the thing for me is, I very much respect Cam Jordan at 36 years old, recognizing this is going to be the last contract most likely that he signs in his career and wanting to maximize the value of that contract. I can also appreciate Cam Jordan looking at this as maybe his final opportunity to win a Super Bowl. So maybe there is an opportunity to go somewhere to make more money and be part of a contender where you could play a role like you did in New Orleans this year. Roughly half of the defensive snaps as a rotational guy defensively, and because you're playing half the snaps at full effort, you can maximize productivity. Again, Cam just had his best season since 2021. So I can understand, make more money, have a chance to win. I can totally respect and appreciate that. But I am curious what the market is going to be. For whatever it's worth, the projected market value from Spotrac has Cam Jordan projected on a 1-year, $6.8 million deal. That's the projected market for Cam Jordan. Comparable players, guys like Anthony Nelson, Tyquan Lewis, Jihad Ward, that's kind of what they're projecting Cam Jordan as a comparable player to. And I just look and say, what NFL team is going to want to invest a multi-year contract into a 36-year-old who will be 37 in July, by the way? A 36-year-old who's going to be 37, yes, coming off sort of a resurgent career, but a guy that had been declining over the previous 3. So it's fair to look and say, was this year an outlier for Cam Jordan? Or did he rediscover something? And it's more likely that this was an outlier. I would love to see Cam Jordan back in New Orleans in the same role. Rotational piece, guy that can give you some snaps off the edge. But it's also very likely New Orleans in this offseason is either going to look to draft or free agency to add a young edge rusher to supplement what you have there with Chase Young and Carl Granderson. Love to have Cam back. It's just got to be at the right price. It's a different conversation with DeMario Davis because he's had the best 2 years of his career, the last 2 years. He's a guy that's older, but is still producing at an all-pro level. So we're having a little bit of a different conversation. I'm not saying you invest a 3-4 year deal in DeMario, but I can stomach a 2-year deal for DeMario Davis at a respectable number. Harder to do that for Cam. You want to give a 36, going to be 37-year-old an incentive-laden deal to come back and finish his career in New Orleans? I'm all for it. Sounds like Cam's not on board with that. The question is, what will the market bear for Cam Jordan? We're going to get that answer, though, because for the first time in his career, he'll be a free agent. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. Thursday shows are brought to you by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. It's not just healthcare, it's healthcare for your lifestyle. Kendall Rogers of D1Baseball is next.
After further review.
REV. Let's Rev. Let'sRev.com. 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 Guarantee Media. Rev does the internet here in our building. Parish Construction and Roofing. We're Rev customers as well. The Moscona Household. Rev. 70,000 Louisiana home and business owners trust Rev for their internet, their cable, phone, home automation, business connectivity services. They do it all, and they're local. I don't know why you wouldn't give Rev a call. If nothing else, just to shop the price and the customer service to see if they can give you a better deal. I mean, think about just for your business. How much of an expense do you have sunken into automation and phone and internet of your business? What if you could lower that monthly rate and get better service with Rev? It's worth a call, isn't it? Well, make that call right now. Let'sRev.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at DecisionCriticalBR.com.
Every Thursday, we visit with Kendall Rogers, D1Baseball, the preeminent college baseball writer. Get a sense of the weekend ahead in the Southeastern Conference and across the landscape. Yo, man, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to just comfort all these LSU fans who, think their season's over already.
All right.
I kind of feel like we went through this every year in the Monero era.
Last year they got run ruled by Northwestern State. I mean, they lost the game to Omaha.
Here's the thing. Yeah, here's the thing. Let's hop right into it. The good and the bad. The good is I think this team will snap out of it. The bad is I did not love the body language last night. After the way they played against Northeastern on Monday, and I know they came back, but there's a lot of guys coming off the bench. Eddie Yamin getting a big home run there. But I just thought after the way Monday went, you walked into the Teague last night. It's a packed house. There's a nice LSU crowd there. I don't know how that doesn't get you pretty excited and pretty pumped up. And I thought that looked like an LSU team that was ready to go home and get in bed.
Give me
that is the only thing that concerns me a little bit.
Panic meter, 1 to 10, where would you be?
2.
Okay. I agree, by the way. I think you and I have had this conversation enough about this. What then gives you confidence that this team can and will snap out of this funk that's been going on really, Kendall, certainly offensively for the last 6 games?
Yeah, here's the thing. Early on, I felt like we were really concerned about the pitching. I still have a lot of faith in Evans. Cooper Moore was really good last weekend. Will Schmidt, teams are only hitting about 180 against him right now. He's been really good as of late. So you kind of got that little piece kind of figured out. Offensively, you've got guys who have hit before, just going up and down the lineup. Zach York, I know the first, weekend or two, he was pretty good. He's cooled off quite a bit. He's hitting 256. You look at Monster Milo, a guy that certainly we think is going to have a really good season, certainly in conference play. He's hitting under, 265. You've got guys like Seth Dardar, who was really good at Kansas State last year, hitting well under 300. And so I just think there are guys in that lineup that have proven in the past that they can not only hit, but hit for a pretty high average. And so that gives me a lot of confidence. The other thing I'm kind of curious just to see evolve over the next few weeks, and trust me, I'm not throwing any of the blame on a Derek Curiel. He's hitting 333. But I do think he was a guy that when he went out in the offseason, gained 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, built up his strength a little bit. I thought we'd see a little bit more power from him, but no home runs. And honestly, the extra base hits have been pretty limited for Curiel as well. So he is the guy that, as I look, I'm even going beyond the Sac State series. As I go into SEC play, he's the guy that kind of needs to take the ropes of this offense and just allow them to take off a little bit.
He's on Twitter at Kendall Rogers, D1Baseball. Jay Johnson also said after the loss to UL Lafayette that he was taking the blame because of the schedule. And they had 4 games. This is twice they played 4-game weekends plus the midweek. And Kendall, it's only one more game over the first 20 days than what they played a year ago. So it's not like it's an egregious number of games, maybe just how we scheduled it. You buying that at all?
Absolutely not. Knowing Jay as well as I do, my guess is he'd take the bullet for his team. And I'm going to guess that bus ride home probably wasn't the most pleasant thing in the world for that baseball team. And here's the thing, and, I guess I'm talking to the LSU baseball team here, but you're playing for the premier program in college baseball. There is not a team in the world, especially a northern team, by the way, that is spending every single weekend early in the season on the road. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. So it's either you can feel sorry for yourself that you're playing a lot of baseball, or you can kind of dial things back in. I'm going to say they'll dial things back in, but you never know. We talked about this in the preseason together, and you just never know about the team after the team that wins the national championship. Most of the time, especially the place like LSU, you're fine. But, man, there's plenty of instances where a team the year after has taken a step back.
D1Baseball.com, he's Kendall Rogers. So this weekend, LSU is going to host Sacramento State. I don't know a lick about them, Kendall. I mean, I know they're 3-9, and their team batting average is like 211. Yeah. All right, take it from there. Like, what should we know about Sacramento State, if anything?
Well, it sounds to me like there's a perfect elixir of what LSU needs to kind of get back on track. But
were you listening? Were you listening to the opening segment of the show? Because it sounds like you're just parroting everything I said in the opening of the show.
I absolutely was not. The great, they say great minds think alike. Yeah, certainly offense, they leave something to be desired. But if you go back and look at their weekend series, they haven't gotten blown out. Like, their pitching for the most part has been pretty good. Kurt Martin for them. 16 strikeouts and 14 2/3. He has yet to walk a batter. Ethan Lay, a senior for them, 24 strikeouts and 19 2/3, 2 walks. Teams hitting them at a 189 clip. So what that tells you is, like, LSU's going to have to actually hit the baseball this weekend against at least a pair of starters who are pretty good and have done it against teams that are pretty solid as well.
Look around the rest of the SEC, Kendall. It's a lot of blech when you look at the schedule on paper. Is there anything? Yeah, is there anything that stands out this weekend?
I think for me, Tennessee, Wright State's interesting. I know Wright is 4-6, but we all know how decent they are every single season. I think that's kind of intriguing to me. But outside of that, man, it's really ACC kind of a weekend. Virginia, North Carolina, outside of the SEC, is kind of that hot series this weekend. Chris Pollard, of course, who used to be at Duke, now at Virginia. He gets a chance to kind of get his first marquee series wins at North Carolina this weekend with Jason DeCaro and company kind of leading the way. But, boy, yeah, if you're looking at the SEC and going, boy, what am I going to watch outside of LSU? This is a perfect weekend to grab some fishing rods after the LSU game and just go fish.
I think it's going to be raining all weekend.
Well, maybe not then. I guess I can say bourbon on the air. Maybe just get some bourbon then.
Oh, dude, we literally have a whiskey Wednesday segment every Wednesday on the show where we just talk about whiskey. So yes, you can absolutely do that. Strongly encouraged. 10 out of 10.
I'm in.
Okay, so outside of the SEC, you mentioned ACC. Anything else nationally worth keeping an eye on this weekend?
Yeah, I think out of the Big Ten, Big Ten play has started as well. I think the most intriguing series for me is Illinois at USC. USC, a program on the rise right now. Andy Stankiewicz has those guys rolling. Mason Edwards, one of the top rising prospects in the country, has been awesome on the weekend in the rotation. Grant Goble for USC almost had 2 no-hitters already this season. He threw one against Pepperdine opening weekend, was a pitch away from getting another no-hitter against Cal Poly here in the last couple of weeks. And so USC, a team on the rise, they had Illinois at home. Illinois, a pretty good club. They gave Coastal Carolina all they could handle a couple of weeks ago.
Kendall, a lot of people here. 2 more things. Number one,
sure.
Look at the way the college baseball schedule kind of maps out, right? Everyone's excited about opening weekend. Then you go play the neutral site classic, the Jacks Classic that LSU is in. And then you have 2 weeks of just sort of lethargy before you start conference play. Do you think that permeates a lot of places? Because we tend to have tunnel vision here just looking at LSU, but is that something that you notice outside, like around college baseball?
Yeah, you talking about just the way the schedule's set up?
Yeah, like this little 2-week stretch between the second weekend when a lot of teams go play those round robin classics, and then the start of conference play.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way because I've been on the road the last 3 weeks watching. I was at Globe Life opening weekend. I was at Round Rock weekend too. Then I was at the Houston Classic last weekend. So even I am taking a deep breath, like, ooh, I can't wait to finally have like a weekend before conference play begins. And so I kind of feel like the teams feel the same way. So I guess for LSU, the bad news is you haven't played great. I guess the good news is you have a weekend now to kind of get right and to make this LSU related. But I'm really looking forward to kind of watching them this weekend. I think you're going to see a little bit different attitude, and I think you're going to see some lineups that are going to kind of raise some eyebrows. I think Jay is done messing around.
Got any ideas?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
What would you like to?
Saying, here's my thing. If you're looking at this team and going, hey, what should we do offensively? If some different things are working, then try some different options. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I'm curious because like Curiel and Brown and Milam and Caraway, Aaron Beatty, like these guys are not coming out of the lineup. So I'm just curious where, when Chris Stanfield comes back, he's going to be in left. Is it Dardar?
Yeah,
is it York?
Fine there.
Yeah.
York might be the guy for me that I don't even know who you throw out there, but I mean, he might be a guy for me that could be expendable a little bit. You can get more athleticism at the position. You certainly at this point can probably get a little bit more production. So maybe York is one of those guys that you could see kind of in and out of the lineup this weekend.
Maybe.
I think I don't think taking him out of the lineup is like, whoa, that's a big loss.
Yeah. I mean, he's hitting 250, but they put John Pearson there and on Monday, and he was awful at first base. I mean,
correct.
He was a big part of the blow-up inning.
I will say this: the biggest thing I'm looking forward to this weekend is just seeing their intensity. Again, I go back to last night. I watched that entire game, and it was shocking to see just how laid back and kind of the aw shucks attitude. Man, I don't know how you walk into the tee last night and be like, "Oh shucks, let's just play baseball and go home."
Yeah,
like that was fun. That was a fun atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, look, even right after Caraway's homer to pull it within 3-2, the leadoff man in the fifth was the double down the right field line where the UL kid was hustling and turned it into a double. I mean, Brown was a little lazy getting to the ball. And the kid was hustling out the box, turned it into a double. I mean, that was a crystal clear description of what you're saying there. I mean, one team really wanted it and the other did not. And see if they snap out of it this weekend.
I think they'll be fine. I mean, again, I have a lot of faith in Jay. And again, I go back to even the Maneri era with LSU. Like, I've seen this sometimes before where like LSU's had some really bad weekend in non-conference or early in the season. Then all of a sudden, you look at the end of the season and they've won the SEC. Like, it's happened so many times.
Yeah. There's a lot of talent there. See if this weekend is the get right against Sacramento State. Of course, you can get Kendall stuff over at D1Baseball.com, D1Baseball.com. He's at Kendall Rogers. Thanks, man. We always appreciate the time.
You got it, brother. Be good.
All right, be well. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com. Thinking of buying land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. They're the best for more than 100 years. They've done one thing, helped Louisianians buy land. So if you're thinking of buying land for agriculture, recreational timber property, that 100 acres, 50 acres in St. Francisville to build your family's dream home, or Covington, or wherever it may be, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. I want you to take advantage of their ultimate recreational land buying guide. It's a free resource at the website. If you're thinking of buying land, that's a great place to start to sort of educate yourself on some of your options and what's out there. It's the ultimate recreational land buying guide. It's totally free resource. It's there at FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com. Thinking of buying land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. With Kendall with us at the bottom of hour one, we'll do around the SEC when we come back. Ross Jackson will be here in 15 minutes. I do want to ask Ross his take on Cam Jordan, who will hit free agency, but also Ross has a piece up at LouisianaSports.net today about the moves that the Saints can make to get within cap compliance. They're almost there to begin with, but we'll knock that around with Ross here in about 15 minutes from right now. Don't you move. It's AFR.
After further review.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential. Think real estate. Think Darren James. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. Remember, working with Darren obligates you to nothing. You know, the number one complaint to the National Association of Realtors is hired a realtor, they listed my home, never heard from him again. With Darren, you never have to worry about that. I've noticed that from quite literally the day I met Darren, and you will as well from your first conversation. You will understand Darren is just, there's something in his brain and his DNA that's wired differently. Just the way that he works and communicates with his clients is unmatched. And you'll understand. Like, have a conversation and you go, oh, that's what Scone's talking about. But working with Darren obligates you to nothing. If at any point you're not thrilled with the service, he'll let you out of the contract free and clear, no questions asked. But how about this? In his career, no one has ever taken him up on it. Agent225.com. Agent225.com.
Think real estate. Think Darren James.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
The Trinidad Chambliss saga is not over, apparently. Of course, a Mississippi State judge, not Mississippi State University, a state judge in Mississippi, of course, granted Trinidad Chambliss his preliminary injunction to be able to play this season. The judge literally cried while reading the decision. Wow. Well, Pete Thamel is reporting the NCAA is appealing the Trinidad Chambliss preliminary injunction, which granted him eligibility for the 2026 season. In a 658-page filing to the Mississippi State Supreme Court today, the NCAA is asking the court to overrule the injunction and expedite the ruling. 658 pages. I guess that's, I'm not an attorney. I guess maybe that's normal, but that feels like a mountain of evidence. Now, I don't think I have a tremendous degree of confidence that the NCAA is going to win here. I guess it's possible. We saw the Joey Aguilar situation go in favor of the NCAA. So maybe this will, but it's worth watching because clearly that would flip the college football season on its head if Trinidad Chambliss is not eligible to play for Ole Miss. And the NCAA is pursuing their avenues to prevent him from playing. And listen, there's a couple of ways to look at it from a competitive standpoint, right? If you're an LSU fan, you don't want Trinidad Chambliss playing. You want him going somewhere as a third-round pick and trying to make a team somewhere in the NFL. You want Ole Miss trying to figure it out with their backup quarterback. Now, the other part of it for me, and you all know, like, I am a staunchly pro-student-athlete guy here. I also want to follow the rules. And, like, I mean, Trinidad Chambliss don't deserve another year, y'all. I mean, part of getting a medical hardship is the school you were at has to sign an affidavit agreeing the reason you didn't play that season was the medical condition. No one's denying he had tonsillitis, but what Ferris State has said is that ain't why he wasn't playing. So, and like, that's from Ole Miss people early in the process when it looked like Chambliss was going to LSU and they didn't want him playing. They wanted him going to the NFL. Now their tune has changed because it looks like he's going back to Ole Miss. So I don't know what, I mean, I think I know what the Mississippi State Supreme Court is going to rule, but it's one worth watching because that will change the complexity of the college football landscape depending on how that goes. All right, we're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding. They do shutters too, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, vinyl siding, shutters, and shades now as well. Every window. They measure twice, install once, custom fit for your home. You can go get quotes But if you're just looking for the cheapest, I tell you all the time, it's never going to be Relief Windows. If you want the best, it'll always be Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. SportsCenter's coming up. We'll get you caught up on national headlines here in just a bit. Ross Jackson will be with us when we come back. He's got a piece up at LouisianaSports.net where he kind of walks through how the Saints are going to restructure deals, which most likely the Saints will do to restructure deals to get within cap compliance. Talk about some of the free agents as well, what we know about Cam Jordan hitting free agency, what about DeMario Davis, some of that sort of stuff. We'll get to that with Ross. Of course, LouisianaSports.net, that's coming up. And then Bill Connolly will be with us in about 20 minutes from right now. Bill Connolly kind of looked at the quarterbacks in college football for 2026. I'm wondering if that might be in any way edited or altered with the Trinidad Chambliss news. So we'll talk about that with Bill Connolly from ESPN in about 20 minutes from right now. Thursday shows are presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. SportsCenter's coming up. We get you caught up on national headlines. It's AFR.
AFR.
And I love telling you about Parish Restoration. Of course, kill mold, remove odor. The process is really easy. You'll call or you go online, parishrestoration.com. You fill out the form on the homepage. You'll get in touch. They'll give you an estimate of what it'll cost. They run these Sprinter vans, right? So they spray this patented non-toxic dry fog, which I tell you about all the time. And so they have these Sprinter vans that pull up to your home, your office, church, school, industrial facility, whatever it is, workout facility. The hose runs through the Sprinter van. So they just pull it out, go in, walk all the way through, spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. They'll close up the windows and the doors. And as soon as the fog dissipates, you're back in free, clear, clean smelling, sanitized space. So if you're dealing with mold, odor, and other harmful pathogens, flu, other sickness, virus going through your space, Parish Restoration can knock it all out efficiently and cost effectively. parishrestoration.com.